Something is changing today. Not next month, not in the spring, today, February 23rd. And for a portion of Canadian seniors receiving government benefit payments, this date carries more weight than most people realize. Some deposits will look exactly the same as last month. Others may shift quietly and without a personal phone call from anyone at CRA. The difference comes down to how your income information is being read right now, and whether the numbers on file actually reflect your current situation. In the next few minutes, Michelle's going to walk you through exactly what's happening, who this touches, and what you can do today to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. My name is Michelle. Michelle spends his time tracking how Canadian benefit rules, CPP, OAS, GIS, and CRA updates affect real seniors across this country. Not in theory, in practice, in monthly deposits, in the kinds of quiet changes that show up in your bank account before you ever get a letter explaining why. If these payments are part of your monthly stability, and for millions of Canadians they absolutely are, this channel was built for you. Subscribe so you stay informed and so you stay protected. That's all Michelle will say about that for now. Let's focus on what matters today. So what is actually happening on February 23rd and why does it matter? Here's the honest answer. February 23rd is not a government-announced emergency date. It's not a crisis, but it does land at a very specific point in the benefit calendar, and that timing is exactly why it deserves your attention right now. We are in the final stretch of the benefit adjustment window that follows the January income reassessment cycle. Every year, CRA uses your most recently filed tax return to determine what you're entitled to receive. For most seniors, that means your 2023 tax return, the one filed in 2024, is the document currently shaping your OAS, your GIS, and in some cases the supplements that come alongside them. What February represents is the point where those calculations have largely been processed. Payment amounts for the coming months, March, April, into the spring, are being set right now based on the information CRA has on file. And if that information is outdated, incomplete, or doesn't reflect a significant income change in your life, your payments may not reflect your actual entitlement. That's the core issue. Not a dramatic rule change handed down from Ottawa this morning. Something quieter, something more common, and something you can actually do something about. Let Michelle explain how this works, one step at a time. Your Old Age Security Payment, OAS, is tied to your age and your years of Canadian residency. For most seniors, that portion stays fairly stable, but OAS can be reduced if your income rises above a certain threshold. That threshold for the current benefit year sits at around $90,997. If your income exceeded that in 2023, you may see a clawback, officially called the OAS Recovery Tax, applied to your payments. Now here's what most people miss about that clawback. It's not applied all at once. It's spread across the payment year, and it's based on what you earned in the previous tax year. So if 2023 was a higher income year for you, maybe you sold a property, received a large RRSP withdrawal, or had a one-time capital gain, your 2024 into 2025 payments may have already been adjusted downward to account for that. But if your income in 2024 dropped back down significantly, CRA may not know that yet. Not until your 2024 return is filed and processed. This is where the February timing becomes relevant. If you haven't yet filed your 2024 tax return, CRA is still working from 2023 numbers. For some seniors, that's completely fine. Income stayed consistent. Nothing unusual happened. For others, it means your payments may be lower than they should be, or in some cases higher than they should be, which creates a repayment situation later that nobody wants to deal with. Let Michelle make this real with a simple example. Margaret is 73 years old. She lives in Ontario. In 2023, she received a one-time RRSP withdrawal of about $28,000 to help cover some unexpected home repairs. That pushed her annual income higher than usual for that 1 year. CRA processed her 2023 return and adjusted her OAS payment slightly for the following benefit period. But in 2024, her income returned to its normal level, closer to $31,000, which is where it's been for years. Margaret's 2024 tax return, when filed, will show CRA that the elevated income was temporary. Once that return is processed, her payment rate can normalize. But until she files and until CRA processes it, she may continue receiving the adjusted, slightly lower amount. She's not being penalized. She hasn't done anything wrong. The system is just working from the most recent information it has. Filing her 2024 return promptly is the single most important step she can take right now to make sure her payments reflect her actual income. That's the kind of real-life situation that February 23rd sits right in the middle of. Now let's talk about GIS, the Guaranteed Income Supplement. This one is especially time-sensitive, and this is the part that many people miss entirely. GIS is designed for lower-income seniors. If your income falls below a certain level, GIS adds a meaningful monthly supplement on top of your OAS. The maximum GIS for a single senior is currently just over $1,065 per month. That's not a small number. For seniors living on fixed incomes, GIS can make a genuine difference in monthly stability. But here's what matters right now. GIS eligibility is reviewed every year, and it is almost entirely based on your filed tax return. If you did not file a 2023 tax return, or if your 2023 return showed income that pushed you above the GIS threshold, you may not be receiving GIS right now, even if your 2024 income would fully qualify you for it. And the reverse is also true. Some seniors who were receiving GIS based on low 2022 income saw their supplement adjusted, or in some cases paused, when 2023 income data showed a different picture. The critical point here is this. If you believe you qualify for GIS based on your current income level and you are not receiving it, or if you believe the amount you're receiving seems lower than it should be, a filed and processed tax return is the starting point for fixing that. Not a phone call, not a letter, a filed return. CRA cannot pay you what you may be entitled to if they don't have an accurate picture of your income. Now, let Michelle give you the practical steps. These are calm, manageable, and completely within your reach. First, confirm what you're currently receiving. Log into your My CRA account online or call Service Canada at 1-800-277-9914. Know your current OAS amount. Know whether you're receiving GIS, and if so, how much. Write it down. This is your baseline. Second, check your tax filing status. Has your 2024 return been filed? If not, and if your income situation changed in any meaningful way last year, lower income, higher income, one-time withdrawal, property sale, filing that return as early as possible in 2025 is the most direct action you can take. Tax filing season opened February 24th. You are in the window right now. Third, if you experienced a significant income drop in 2024 specifically, ask about the option to have your GIS and allowance calculated based on your estimated current year income rather than your prior year return. This is called a current year income declaration, and CRA does offer this option under certain circumstances, including retirement or job loss. It doesn't apply to everyone, but for those it does apply to, it can result in receiving GIS sooner rather than waiting for the annual reassessment cycle. Fourth, review any recent CRA correspondence. If you received a letter in the last 60 days about your benefit amounts, read it carefully. These letters sometimes contain adjustments that seniors don't notice immediately, especially if the letter is buried in a pile of mail or arrives when you're not expecting it. If something in that letter doesn't make sense, My CRA account and the Service Canada line are both there to help you understand it. Before you close this out, make sure you've confirmed one specific detail. Whether your most recent filed return is the one CRA is currently using to calculate your payments. That single piece of information tells you whether the numbers on your next deposit are based on accurate current data, or data that may no longer reflect your life. You're not doing anything wrong by not knowing this. These systems are complex. They were designed by policy teams, not by people sitting at a kitchen table trying to figure out a monthly budget. The fact that you're here, asking these questions, trying to understand, that already puts you in a position of awareness that many people simply don't have. Michelle wants to say something clearly because Michelle knows these conversations can carry a certain weight. When benefit payments shift even slightly, it can feel unsettling, especially when you're managing a fixed income and you've built a routine around knowing what's coming each month. That feeling is completely understandable. But what Michelle wants you to take from this is not worry, it's clarity. When you understand why something happened, it stops being frightening and becomes manageable. And when you take one simple action, file your return, check your account, make one call, you move from uncertainty into control. That's what this is really about. Not a crisis, not a penalty. A system that runs on information and your ability to make sure that information is accurate. Did this clarify something you weren't quite sure about before? Leave a comment below genuinely whether it confirms something you already knew or filled in a gap you hadn't thought about. Michelle would like to know. The people who watch these videos tend to be the kind of people who choose understanding over assumption. That's a community worth being part of. You stayed with this to the end. You followed it through. That means you now understand the February timing, why income data matters for OAS and GIS, how the annual reassessment cycle affects your payments, and what steps you can take right now to make sure your entitlements are accurate. Here's the simple summary before you go. February 23rd sits at a point in the benefit calendar where payment amounts for the coming months are being shaped by the income data CRA currently holds. If your 2024 income was lower than 2023, or if your situation changed in a meaningful way, your current payments may not yet reflect that. Filing your 2024 tax return as early as possible is the most direct way to update CRA's picture of your situation. If you believe you qualify for GIS and are not receiving it, or if the amount seems incorrect, a filed return and a call to Service Canada are your two clearest paths forward. Who does this affect? Seniors whose income changed meaningfully in 2024. Seniors who haven't yet filed their 2024 return. Seniors receiving GIS or near the eligibility threshold, and seniors who received a one-time income event in 2023 that may have temporarily adjusted their payments. Who does this not affect significantly? Seniors whose income has remained stable and consistent, and whose 2023 return is already on file and accurately reflects their ongoing situation. What should you check? Your current payment amounts, your filing status for 2024, and any recent CRA correspondence about your benefits. You now understand exactly where this sits, and that understanding gives you something very practical, the ability to take the right step at the right time with confidence. That's what this channel is here for. Take care of yourself, and Michelle will see you in the next one.